In the waning warmth of September night, Rachel Morales vanished from the dusty hamlet of Brookside, Arizona, a place of 2,500 souls nestled amid arid plains. The air was heavy, untouched by wind, filled only with the distant wail of coyotes and the faint orange glow of lanterns lining the path to Ironwood Crossing. At 12:15 a.m., friends waved farewell to Rachel, a compassionate 23-year-old veterinary assistant, her dark curls catching the moon's pale sheen as she climbed into her blue Honda Civic. Tires crunched over gravel still radiating the day's blistering sun, and a lone hiker later recalled her taillights dissolving into the shadows of mesquite trees along the Rio Verde. From that moment, Brookside was forever scarred. Rachel was gone. The events of the next hour would torment the town for 13 years, a wound festering in silence. That autumn of 2009, Brookside baked under relentless desert heat, days choked with swirling sand, nights alive with the relentless drone of cicadas echoing across barren fields. Against this unforgiving backdrop, Rachel Morales, with wavy black hair cascading past her elbows and a smile that radiated warmth, pursued her calling to heal animals. Known as a devoted daughter, a tireless apprentice, and a soul quick to aid others, she was a beacon in the tight-knit community. On September 20th, she joined neighbors at a modest ranch gathering, where faint country tunes spilled from a battered radio, mingling with the scent of whiskey and smoldering mesquite wood. Friends noted she abstained from drinking, engaging in light conversation, her eyes occasionally flicking to her watch as if weighing an early departure. Near midnight, she bid her goodbyes, stepping from the warmly lit porch onto a cracked dirt path, her boots tapping softly. She slid into her reliable blue Honda Civic, the car that had carried her through veterinary training, and drove onto the desolate county highway toward her family's adobe home. The sky stretched vast and starless, cacti swaying in a faint gust, the sparse glow from distant farms amplifying the road's eerie solitude. Rachel's phone buzzed with a text from her father, Carlos, asking, "You on your way home?" It went unanswered, swallowed by the night. Around 12:30 a.m., a pair of late-night hikers near the Rio Verde reported seeing headlights dart across Ironwood Crossing before vanishing into the dark. The ancient steel bridge, linking the village to the remote Badlands, stood over waters that mirrored a thin crescent moon. The Civic's tires rumbled over its rusted girders, the sound echoing briefly before fading. That was Brookside's final glimpse of Rachel Morales. In the enveloping gloom, both she and her car evaporated without a trace, igniting a mystery that would haunt the community like a relentless specter. As dawn painted the horizon, Brookside stirred in deceptive calm. But in the modest Vargas household, dread hung thick. Carlos, a widowed father bound tightly to his daughter, realized Rachel hadn't returned from the gathering. All night he paced, sending texts and dialing her number, met only by the cold ring of voicemail. By 7 a.m., he called his younger daughter, Sophia, who lived in a trailer park on the town's edge. His voice trembled. "Rachel didn't come home. Her phone's dead. I'm scared." Sophia sped over, a knot of fear tightening in her chest. Together, they rushed to the Brookside Sheriff's Office to report her missing. The deputy on duty, young and nonchalant, scribbled notes suggesting Rachel, at 23, might have stayed at friends or sought solitude. "She's an adult. Maybe she wanted a break," he said, attempting to soothe an anxious parent. Carlos's eyes flashed. "That's not Rachel. She texted me last night. She always checks in." His unyielding tone and Sophia's urgent pleas finally convinced Sheriff Laura Denton to open a preliminary investigation. That morning, deputies contacted Rachel's friends from the ranch party, all confirming she left alone around 12:15 a.m., showing no distress beyond mentioning she was tired. From there, Rachel seemed to vanish from existence, her phone losing signal at the nearest tower. Whispers spread through Brookside. Perhaps a car breakdown, an accident, or something far darker. By midday, police and volunteers scoured the likely route she took, county helicopters buzzing over the Rio Verde and rugged trails leading to the outskirts. On the ground, K-9 units sniffed through sagebrush and boulders, searching for any human trace. Sophia joined the effort, her face etched with worry, scanning every ditch for a glint of metal or scrap of clothing. Townsfolk, gripped by unease, combed riverbanks with lanterns and sticks, their murmurs blending with the wind. That evening, a regional news channel aired an urgent bulletin featuring Rachel's radiant smile, urging anyone with information to call a hotline. But as hours bled into days, hope eroded like sand in a storm. Faint skid marks were found on a dirt track near Ironwood Crossing, but a sudden dust storm blurred them, leaving no wreckage, no purse, no sign of Rachel or her Civic. It was as if the desert had swallowed her whole. By the third day, media attention intensified. Photos of Rachel in her vet scrubs, her vibrant eyes and dark locks, dominated local headlines. Carlos broke down seeing her face on TV with the caption, "23-year-old vet assistant mysteriously missing." The coverage, however, sparked cruel rumors. Some speculated she fled from work pressure. Others whispered of hidden romantic troubles. These stung Carlos, who knew his daughter's disciplined life and fierce loyalty. Sophia bore the gossip quietly, focusing on support of her father. Deputies expanded their search to the riverbed, but with limited equipment. They relied on volunteer nets and divers, yielding nothing. By the sixth day, the search was declared inconclusive. Missing person flyers bearing Rachel's frozen smile appeared on lampposts, gas stations, and shop windows, becoming a haunting fixture in Brookside. At night, locals glanced toward Ironwood Crossing, whispering that the bridge had claimed an innocent soul. Yet in Carlos and Sophia's hearts, a fragile hope lingered that Rachel was out there, alive. The cold reality, however, was merciless. The Civic and its driver had vanished, leaving a void no search could fill. Brookside entered a state of quiet tension. The Brookside Gazette ran a stark headline, "Young vet aide vanishes without trace." Regional radio mentioned Rachel Morales daily, recounting the disappearance in a tranquil community. Townsfolk murmured at markets, gas pumps, and diners, their glances mixing sympathy with unease. Sheriff Laura Denton, leading the investigation, faced a barrage of reporters. She maintained a composed facade, repeating, "We're investigating thoroughly, ruling nothing out," but the strain in her eyes betrayed her. Amid the growing unease, Rachel's friends organized a prayer vigil at Our Lady of the Desert Chapel. Candlelight flickered in the dim, the air heavy with sage incense, and hymns rose in trembling voices. The pews overflowed with residents, from elders to children, all praying for a miracle. Carlos knelt in the front row, clutching a photo of Rachel, his eyes red but resolute. Sophia stood beside him, her hand steadying his shaking frame. Rachel's veterinary classmates in white lab coats lined up to light candles, wax dripping like tears. In that solemn moment, one truth was undeniable. Rachel's loss had become Brookside's shared wound. Beyond the vigil's glow, rumors spread like wildfire. Some pointed to Rachel's ex-boyfriend, Ryan Keller, whose stormy breakup with her was no secret. Locals recalled his temper during a heated argument at a local tavern, his sharp words clashing with Rachel's gentle nature. With her gone, suspicion naturally fell on him. Ryan denied any involvement, insisting he was in Phoenix with friends at night, an alibi backed by witnesses. Yet doubt lingered like dust in the air. Others whispered about a reclusive rancher, Harlan Pike, who'd clashed with the Vargas family over stray cattle the previous year. Rachel had reported his wandering herd, straining relations, though no evidence tied him to her disappearance. In Brookside's charged atmosphere, any detail could ignite suspicion. The once peaceful town now simmered with fear. Doors were locked earlier, children barred from venturing out after dusk, and the roads near Ironwood Crossing became places to avoid. The orange glow of lanterns along the Rio Verde cast an eerie sheen, amplifying the sense of dread. Every strange noise startled residents, hearts racing. Parents warned their kids, "Don't trust strangers. Never go alone." What began as a single disappearance seeped into every facet of life, becoming a collective obsession. In Brookside's only saloon, patrons spun theories over whiskey. Rachel was abducted, taken across state lines, or perhaps chose to vanish. At the beauty parlor, women murmured that someone in town knew more than they admitted. The heavy atmosphere bred distrust, with neighbors eyeing each other warily. Carlos visited the post office daily, hoping for an anonymous tip, but every envelope brought disappointment. Sophia threw herself into volunteer searches, posting flyers and knocking on doors, but she saw the community's unity fray, replaced by a creeping fear. Rachel's disappearance had grown beyond a family tragedy. It was a storm that eroded Brookside's fragile peace, forcing residents to confront a chilling truth. Even in a small town where everyone knew each other, dark secrets could lurk. Months blurred into years, and the frantic searches, candlelit vigils, and front-page stories faded to brief mentions. After 4 months without leads, Sheriff Denton held a curt press conference, her voice flat. "We'll keep monitoring, but there's no new evidence." To many, it signaled that Rachel Morales' case had gone cold, filed away in a dusty drawer with other unsolved mysteries. But for the Vargas family, it was never over. Carlos, his hair graying from grief, wrote tirelessly to newspapers, each letter beginning, "Rachel Morales is my daughter, a kind 23-year-old who deserves to be found." Sophia, nearing 30, continued posting flyers, driving across Brookside to tape Rachel's face to poles, storeboards, and even distant highway rest stops. Each poster was a fresh wound, a reminder to the town of their missing daughter. Early on, their efforts drew support, but as years passed without progress, the community's interest waned. Some avoided Carlos's gaze at the market, quietly removing tattered, sun-bleached flyers. Whispers urged the Vargas family to accept and move on. But how could they, when the truth remained buried? 13 years slipped by like a mirage. Brookside remained a dusty speck, its roads parched and the Rio Verde flowing quietly. But Rachel's memory lingered as a smoldering scar, present yet rarely spoken. Ironwood Crossing stood, its steel corroding, a mute witness to that 2009 night. Passing tourists sometimes heard the tale of the missing vet assistant, shivering as they peered into the river's dark depths. In homes, parents used Rachel's story to caution children. Don't go out alone at night. Remember Rachel Morales. Beyond these warnings, silence prevailed. Carlos lived in the adobe, maintaining a shrine to Rachel with her photo in vet scrubs, her smile forever 23. His letters to papers grew less frequent, rarely published. Sophia, now a stoic woman working in ranch labor, carried an unhealed wound. Each anniversary of the disappearance, she stood by Ironwood Crossing, staring into the water, imagining where her sister had gone. Brookside learned to live with its darkness, its residents ceasing public prayers. But in their hearts, Rachel's absence remained a nightmare they couldn't wake from. In June 2022, a spark of truth emerged through strangers untouched by Brookside's burdened past. The Water Wardens, a volunteer dive team led by former rescue divers Lucas Hale and Ben Riley, arrived to clean the Rio Verde. Hardened by years of disaster work, they left government jobs for a community-driven mission to clear rivers of debris. Their work was simple: hauling trash, salvaging rusted car frames, and advocating for cleaner waterways. But their recovery sometimes tied to missing persons, making them unwitting bridges between nature and justice. Funded by small donations, they traveled Arizona in a weathered van loaded with oxygen tanks, sonar gear, and buoyancy sacks, stopping at river towns where rumors of sunken relics persisted. Lucas, with a grizzled beard and a calm voice, fronted their mission videos, while Ben, quieter, focused on equipment and dive safety. Prompted by a Brookside teacher concerned about river pollution, the wardens arrived, unaware of the town's lingering tragedy. The Rio Verde, though free of industrial waste, had long been a dumping ground for scrap, including old cars. To them, it was another routine job. Under June's blazing sun, Lucas stood on the bank, addressing a camera. We're in Brookside, Arizona, set to clean a stretch of the Rio Verde under Ironwood Crossing. This bridge is old, and locals say it hides abandoned cars. Our goal: pull them up for a cleaner environment. Ben, on a small boat, monitored sonar as waves traced its screen. He'd once said each sunken car was a metal grave, harming the river and sometimes holding secrets. Curious townsfolk gathered, some drawn by spectacle, others by memories of Rachel. An elderly man muttered, "That crossing took a life once. Who knows what's down there?" The wardens prepared. Tanks checked, ropes tied to bridge, air sack stacked. Lucas performed his ritual, raising a hand to the river. We dived to remove junk, leaving only bubbles, taking only scrap. None imagined they'd uncover a 13-year-old secret. The bank buzzed with onlookers. Kids asking about dive gear, Ben explaining briefly before returning to the sonar. A distinct shape appeared at 75 feet near the bridge, sharper than expected. Ben frowned, calling Lucas. "Looks like a sedan intact," he said. Lucas nodded. "Probably a recent wreck. We'll pull it up. Newer cars are worse of the river." The remark, casual then, would soon shake Brookside. For now, it was just another dive. The warden's boat drifted beneath Ironwood Crossing's shadow. The June heat oppressive, river vapor stifling. Ben crouched at the sonar, its beeps mapping the depths. Average depth 65 feet. Drops to 75 near the bridge's base, he noted. Lucas spotted an angular form on the screen. A vehicle, clearer than the rusted hulks they often found. "That's a sedan," he said. "Let's check it." The team wasn't shocked. Rural bridges often had dumped cars. They'd pulled up old trucks before, some bullet-ridden, others with decayed remains. "Not our first dive," Lucas told a new volunteer. But this shape, inverted at 75 feet, reflected sonar sharply, its shell preserved. "Hasn't been down long," Ben murmured. Lucas agreed. "Could be recent. Up it comes, oils and batteries poison the water." They planned. Lucas would lead the dive to assess the vehicle. If intact, they'd attach air sacs, canvas bladders holding gallons of air, to lift it from the muck. Ropes from shore would pull it to shallows. Ben mapped the approach. Descend at the south pillar, 15 feet, then follow the river wall to 75. Targets 4 yards off, no strong currents. A volunteer asked, "Sure it's a car?" Lucas replied, "Car or scrap, it's coming up." To them, every find was debris to remove. They didn't dwell on Brookside's missing persons lore, having visited too many towns with similar tales. Lucas checked chains and tanks, repeating, "Safety first. No opening doors underwater. Just attach the bags." Ben verified air pressures, ensuring 40 minutes at depth. The team fell silent, staring at the dark water. Unknowingly, they stood at Brookside's turning point. Below the Rio Verde's murky veil, Lucas and Ben's helmet lights cut through the gloom like knives. They descended slowly, radios crackling. 30 feet, 40, Lucas counted, gliding along the river wall. Ben followed, gripping the safety line. Mud stirred, swirling like fog. At 75 feet, a silhouette emerged, an inverted sedan, tires up like a frozen beast. "There it is," Ben said, voice rough with bubbles. Lucas's beam revealed a logo, Honda Civic, mostly intact. "Let's rig the bags." He secured an orange air sac to the chassis with steel chains. "Watch the grip, it's slick," he warned. Ben quipped, "Relax, I'm craving tacos topside, not stuck here." A crackled laugh eased the tension. They attached a second sac to the rear axle, each move heavy in the oppressive current. On shore, volunteers watched Lucas's camera feed, the grainy image showing the car below. Sophia Vargas, drawn by word of the dive, stood among the crowd, clutching Rachel's photo, her heart pounding. No one dared link the car to the 13-year-old case. Underwater, Lucas signaled to open the air valve. The sacs inflated, bubbles hissing as the car trembled, mud churning. "It's moving," Ben said, excited. Lucas cautioned, "Slow or the bags tear." They adjusted, lifting the car inches off the bottom. On shore, the crowd held its breath as the river rippled, orange sacs breaching. Lucas panted, "Keep it steady." Ben joked, "If this is the news, call me Ben Riley, underwater car tamer." The car jolted, a metallic screech echoing through their radios. "Hold the line," Lucas shouted. Ben secured a slipping chain, sweat beading under their suits. "Stable," Lucas said, calming. Minutes dragged like hours. The car rose, still falling like reverse rain, revealing a blue sedan breaking free. On shore, whispers spread, some filming with phones. Sophia trembled, eyes fixed on the river, murmuring, "Please, no." At 15 feet, Lucas signaled, "Pull to shallows." The shore team hauled ropes, each tug heavy. The water frothed, and the Civic's shape loomed faintly. Silence fell, only rope creaks and divers' breaths audible. Then a beige boot, algae-covered, spun to the surface. A volunteer shouted, "Something's in the car!" The cry turned curiosity to dread. Lucas froze and barked, "Stop filming kill streams." Phones lowered. Volunteers paled. Ben surfaced, voice breathless. "Lucas, someone's inside." Silence blanketed the shore. Sophia, who'd endured vigils 13 years prior, felt her knees buckle, recognizing the boot from Rachel's vet days. Tears streamed as she whispered, "It's her." Lucas commanded, "Call 911." A volunteer dialed, reporting a possible body. The dispatcher replied, "Units en route. Preserve the scene." Lucas signaled to avoid the Civic, now bobbing in the water. "No one touches it. Crime scene now," he said, hands trembling on the rope. Ben reached shore, mask off, face drenched. He whispered, "If there's a body, it's been down there a long time." Lucas nodded, eyes drifting to Ironwood Crossing, as if seeing 2009. Sirens wailed, shattering Brookside's hush. Squad cars screeched in, lights flashing. Interim Sheriff Tom Reyes stepped out, face grim, ordering the area sealed with yellow tape. Lucas reported, "We were salvaging a sedan. Boot surfaced. Suspect a body." Reyes directed deputies to inspect. One shone a flashlight to the mud-caked window, revealing a motionless figure, hair spilling across the driver's seat. "There's someone," the deputy choked. The news hit like a shockwave. Residents wept, others retreated, breathless. Sophia collapsed, Carlos rushing to her side. "Dad, stay calm," she said, voice breaking. Lucas and Ben stood silent. They'd expected scrap, not this. Forensics and rescue units arrived, floodlights casting a cold glow. Tarps blocked prying cameras. Reyes approached Lucas. "Thank you for stopping. We'll take it from here." Lucas replied, "We came to clean a river, not uncover this." The air thickened with dread as the Civic reached the bank, its rusted blue shell dented but intact. A deputy's beam showed long hair across the seat. Sophia sobbed, clutching Rachel's photo. No confirmation was needed. The town knew. The car was dragged to the muddy bank, wheels grinding into sludge, the screech chilling the crowd. Air sacs hissed faintly like final breaths. Reyes signaled forensics, pushing onlookers back. A deputy scraped mud from the license plate. AZ4 LY732. Reyes checked his tablet, voice heavy. Matches a Honda Civic reported missing with Rachel Morales. 2009. Hope of coincidence shattered. Brookside's 13-year wait ended, pain sharper than ever. Forensics, gloved, prepared to cut the door. The air was still, broken only by insects and generators. A musty stench wafted as the door opened. A sheet draped the body before removal. Sophia screamed, collapsing into Carlos's arms. "Rachel, my girl, why?" Her cries tore through the crowd. Reyes approached. "We're sorry. This is Rachel's car. The body will be examined, but there's no doubt." Sophia, tears streaming, spat, "You left for there 13 years. You promised a search." Her words cut the community and the failed investigation. Reyes bowed his head, escorting them home. Brookside didn't sleep. News spread. They found Rachel in the river. Lights stayed on as residents wrestled with who left her in the dark. At dawn, Arizona State Forensics vans lit the banks. Technicians in hazmat suits carried toolkits, their boots crunching gravel. The Civic was photographed. Cracked windows, mossy handles, rusted streaks. The body was bagged, but all knew it was Rachel. Sophia stayed, pale, watching every move, hands bloody from clenching. A deputy urged, "Rest, we've got this." Sophia shook her head. "I've waited too long." In a field lab, forensics found a rotted purse with Rachel's vet ID, faded photos, and a broken comb. DNA matched Carlos and Sophia's 2009 samples, confirming Rachel. The 4 a.m. announcement broke the crowd into tears, grief flooding Brookside. Fractures on Rachel's leg and skull suggested a violent impact, not a river drift. The hood's radial dent pointed to a rear collision. Likely ram before plunging, a technician said. turning an accident into a crime. Evidence, boot, purse, debris, was sealed meticulously, ensuring no errors in a case buried 13 years. Media swarmed, cameras panning Ironwood Crossing. An anchor spoke. After 13 years, Brookside finds Rachel Morales, missing since 2009. What happened and who's responsible? Sheriff Reyes held a press conference. The car and body are Rachel's. This is now a criminal investigation. Brookside exhaled, but relief was fleeting. Sophia left at dawn, staring at the bridge. She was there all along. Forensics loaded the body, the van's door slamming mournfully. Brookside awoke to a new reality. The mystery was now a crime with evidence and a victim. The reopened case brought Arizona Rangers to Brookside Sleepy Station. They re-interviewed 2009 witnesses, starting with Ryan Keller, Rachel's ex. His Phoenix alibi held, clearing him. A new lead emerged from Martha Lowe, now in her 70s, who lived near Rachel's route. "I heard a car speeding past midnight," she said. "Saw a blue sedan, then a big SUV tailing it." She'd told deputies in 2009, but was dismissed. Forensics confirmed the Civic's rear dents and fractures aligned with a deliberate ram. A paint chip from the rear matched a 2004 Chevy Tahoe owned by ex-Sheriff Laura Denton. Her 2010 claim of trading it was false. No junkyard record existed. A recovered text from Rachel to her friend Jenna read, "Denton's tailing me." Jenna had reported it, but was silenced. On July 25, 2022, Rangers arrested Denton at her stucco home. She didn't resist murmuring, "I knew this day would come." Cuff snapped, shocking Brookside. Carlos sobbed, "She lied to my face." Sophia vowed, "I'll see her in court." Evidence, paint, text, fake records, condemned Denton. The town split, some defending her, most outraged. At memorial, Lucas Hale said, "We came to clean a river, not unearth truth." Brookside, scarred, learned justice could hide, but not forever. Candles lit for Rachel, her loss and Denton betrayal unhealing wounds.